Hello guys again and welcome to Comprehensive Tutorials. In this video we will be doing a quick recap of classes on what we have learned so far. I just wanted to sink in. So this tutorial is going to be on a quick recap and then some simple things on constructors again. So I'll go ahead and then comment out all of these and then create a new file. And it's going to be a source file. And I hope you know what I'm talking about. Right. And we want to call this classes 1b. And right, so let me just do this. Classes 1b, save. And yeah, I created one already for this tutorial, so I'll just go ahead and then replace it. And we want to take all of these and finish. So we have our file over here. And the first thing to do is to include the iOS stream. So let me zoom in so you guys will see what I'm doing. Right, so we have include. Now this line of code that I'm about to include is just this environment specific. Probably you are using other editor. You don't need to do this. You only need the include IO stream. So this is just my environment specific, and I think I did a tutorial on that, on how to set up your environment like this in order to have several source files. Right, so we go ahead and then we define our constants as usual, and we want to use T for tab, and then we want to use new line for right. Now the next thing we want to do is to include this line using namespace std in order to be able to use cout directly. And for you guys, you would be running probably your code in int main functions if you are in other environments, or if you don't have your environment set up like mine, and you'll be returning 0 over here. But for me, I will be running mine from based on my setup. I'll be running mine from void. I want to call this classes 1b, right? And then I would get in here, because it's a void function, I would not be returning anything. So this is where the entirety of my code is going to be run. For you guys, depending on your environment, again, you will be running yours from the int main function. So there is no problem with that. Now the next thing to do to complete this setup is to go to the facilitator.h file and then have this line over this. So we want to have classes 1b as such, and then we want to come to the main.cpp again, and we want to have it written over here too as well. And I think we are set up, we are good to go now. So in order to be sure that we are completely set up, I'll be running cout setup complete. Right, so let's go ahead and run this, and if we get this sentence output on the screen, then our setup is complete. Right, and we have setup complete. Right, so now we can go ahead and then start what we want to do for the day. Now we are going quickly over classes, and to create a class, you create it over here. So let's just go ahead and have the class keyword, and we want to call our class product, and then we want to have curly brackets where our attributes and methods will be. Now, so I'll just go ahead and specify that this is where my attributes are going to be, and my first attribute is going to be a double price, and our second one is going to be a double weight. So this is a class that is called product, and when you create an object under this class, the object should have price, weight, and the object, we want to give the object these three attributes: string, name. So it's like a class for an online shopping something, where you pick a product, and a product should have a price, weight, name. Very simple, right? So these are the attributes of the object. To create an object, all we have to do is to use the name of the class, which is product, and we want to call this shipment 1. So we have created an object, and we can go ahead and give it attributes like shipment 1 dot price is equal to, let's say, $500, and we can do that. Now, we learned about constructors in a previous video, so go ahead and then use a constructor to assign attributes to this particular object during construction. So to have a constructor, it should have the same name as the class, and we use the two colons to link it up to the main class. So product as such. You would have parentheses over there to tell the computer that this particular constructor is to accept attributes like the first attribute it should accept is a double, and the second one, let's say, should be a double too, and the third one is going to be a string, and we just want to call these ones anything, or you can say double kill, double anything, right? Then we want to come over here, and then these should be assigned to, we have price over here already, so price should then be set to P. So whatever attribute that will be passed during construction over here, that particular one should be set to price, and then the weight should be set to W, and then we want to have the name set to N as such, right? So we have our constructor. So now we can use our constructor over here instead of calling them using the dot operator one by one. So we can just pass each and every one of them here during the construction. So we want to have a price of $300 and want to have a weight of 500 grams, and we want to say that the name of our product is floppy disk. I'm wondering which floppy disk costs $300, right? So these are the attributes of our object, and we have used the constructor to pass in those attributes. Now, to complete the link, we would want to come inside here and then have this constructor linked to this particular class. So you come in here and call the name of the constructor, and then the data types of the parameters that is accepting. So it's accepting double, and then string, right? So this is it. Then we have a colon over there. So we have a constructor to allow us to pass our attributes to our object that we have created. So let's run this to be sure we have no error so far. And we have an error here. It says that product is private within this context. So right now the default access specifier is private for all of these for this constructor and for these attributes. So we only want to set the attributes to private, and then set the constructor in any other thing that would be coming to public. So we set this using this keyword over here. We go ahead and tap this. Right, so let's go ahead and run this now to be sure we have no compile time error. Right, and now we have no error. So now the next thing, so that means that these attributes were passed over here, but now we are not yet working with them. To be able to work with them, let's go ahead and create a method that will allow us to perform computations on this. And we want to call this method amount, as we did in the previous video. Let me zoom in. I want to call it amount, and usually this is to accept parameters, but we will be accessing these parameters, so there is no need to put anything here. So then we come down here, and then we tell the computer what this particular method is to do anytime it's called. Over here, we just want to compute the cost. So we create a variable to store it, and then we want to say that the cost of a particular product is the price times 2 plus the weight times 3. So if you buy a heavy object, because they'll be shipping it, they'll be using fuel, manpower, and all of that, so you have to pay more because your object is heavy. Then we want to come over here and see out name of the product, the name that will be passing, and the name cost. Right, then we want to return the cost over here because we are returning a double over here, so we are returning something over here as well. Then after that, so since these attributes were passed during construction and they are accessible over here, anytime we call an object dot amount, this particular method would get the price of that particular object, would get the weight of that particular object, and then come over here and compute the cost and output the sentence. So let's get the amount that we are supposed to pay for shipment 1. So we use the dot operator to access these ones. Then we have that. So let's go ahead and run this. And we should be getting floppy disks. Okay, so floppy disks cost $2,100. Right. So we have this working. Now, the next thing I just want to brush over is overloading constructors. Now we have only one constructor here. Let's create 2 more constructors. So we want to have product because that is supposed to be the syntax, and then we want to have this one accepting just, let's say, double N, and we want to get in here and set the let's just say the price. Let's be simple. So the price is going to be P as such, and then we want to come over here and say that. So let me just copy this particular constructor. I just want to show you guys something, the differences in overloading constructors. And this would be accepting N2, but then this data type is going to be an integer, and then we come over here and set the price to P. So now these are 2 different constructors. You know why? Because this is accepting a double parameter, and this is accepting a double, and the other is accepting an integer. To complete this link, let's just come in here and then have product. So let me just go ahead and copy this, and then I'll paste it here and paste it here as well. And then we want to have parentheses over there, and then we come down here and say that this is going to be an integer with a semicolon over there. Right, so now we have 2 constructors and we have linked them up. Now during the time of object creation, let's say that we just pass in 300, right? We just pass in 300. What's going to happen? Is it this particular constructor which is going to be called, or this particular one which is going to be called? We are passing an integer over here, so this will be called. Right, so let's go ahead and then modify this amount function to just say that the cost is equal to the price, so that we don't have any errors. So cost is equal to price, and we just want to output, let's just output the price. So the price is price. Right, so let's just, yeah, well, let's say the price is cost, whatever the price is still the same thing. Great. So now we just want to come over here and call shipment 1.amount. Okay, so we have assigned the price now, and we just want to go ahead and run this to see what the output is going to be. And we have P was not declared in this scope, so double N. So it should be N over here, and then we should have price is equal to N also over there. So let's go ahead and run this now, and we have the price is 300, right? So when we passed in 300, this was an integer, so this particular constructor was called and the price was assigned. So if we pass in a double, this one will be called as well. The difference I want you guys to get over here is which particular constructor will be called, because the constructors have the same name. The only thing that differentiates them is the number of data types and the type of parameters is accepted. Over here, this one is accepting 1. Over here, this constructor is accepting 1 as well. So, but the only difference is that this is an integer and this is a double. So anytime you pass in a double over here, this particular one will be called. Probably we could have had several other things here, that would differentiate them more. So anytime you pass in a double over here, this is what will be called. That's the only difference I want you guys to get. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this double one, and then we come over here and delete this one as well. So we just have a constructor that accepts integer parameters. Now let's go ahead and pass in 3 point like that, and then we run this. Now we have the price is 300 again. Did we pass in 300? No, we passed in 300.788. Why was 300.788 not returned? Because this was an integer. Okay, so in order to see this, let's go ahead and then I think I should undo this so that we have the previous constructor accepting a double, and then we go ahead and pass in a double and see if that's gonna work. So this is a double, and we are running this to see what's gonna happen. And then we have the price is 300.69. I think he rounded it because the double is not large. Right, so you can go ahead and change this data type to accommodate the variable that you want. Now the next thing I want to quickly brush over is we want to add another method. So this method is going to return, let's just say, void confirmation. Now what this is supposed to do is that it is going to output a message if the order is complete. So if the user has made payment, then the system would check to see that the user has made payment and then output this message. So what do we output over here? Let me do this so you guys will see it, how it's being used. So this is a function basically, but it's going to return nothing. All we want to output is cout the order is complete or something. The order is complete and the shipment has been sent as such. Right, so then if we call shipment one dot confirmation, this is what is going to be output, but we want to output that on condition. So let's say that depending on the program that we are writing, we want to say that we have a variable called payment, and we can have several lines of code to check if the payment is been made. So if the payment is being made, this stores a true value, and if the payment is not made, this stores a false value. So we want to check that if payment equal true, then what we want to do is to call this particular shipment that the user is ordering dot confirmation. If that is not true, don't output this message. So right now our payment is set to false because we have not yet paid, so this will not be run. But the moment we pay it, then payment will turn to true, and then this would be output. So let's go ahead and run this and see what's going to happen. Let me just reduce this one. Right, so we are running this and we have the price is 300.67 and nothing else. So let's say that we make payment and this changes to true, and it checks to see if we have made payment, then run this particular block of code. So let's go ahead and run this, and now we have the order is complete and the shipment has been sent. So I think we should have had a new line somewhere so that we can see this. Right, so let me go ahead and run this again, and now we have the order is complete and the shipment has been sent. Right, so those were just the minor details I want you guys to take note of. The differences in constructor overloading and the ability to declare several methods. You can have several methods to do several things, right?